In the heart of Igbo land, where ancient Iroko trees whisper secrets of the past, the village of Umudialah had long prospered under the blessings of Ani, the earth goddess. For generations, the Okafo women had served as her priestesses, maintaining the delicate balance between the physical and spiritual worlds. But now, as modern Nigeria rushes towards the future, the sacred covenant is in danger. Adanna Okafo stood at the window of her Lagos high-rise office, staring at architectural plans for a new development. At the age of 32, she had carefully constructed a life removed from the traditions of her childhood. Her phone rang. Her sister Nneka's number. With a sigh, she answered. She is gone. Nneka's voice cracked. Nne is gone, and she was asking for you at the end. The news of her grandmother's death struck Adanna like a physical blow. 15 years of careful distance collapsed in an instant. That night, she dreamt of pythons slithering through dying gardens, and her grandmother's voice carried on the wind. Return, Ada, and he calls you home. Days later, Adanna stepped off the bus onto the red earth of Umudiala, the village she had fled as a teenager. The familiar scent of wood smoke and palm oil hung on the air, but something was different. The usual vibrance seemed dull, the forest less green, the village less alive. Market women stopped their battering to stare and whisper behind cup hands. Nne Okafor's chosen one has returned. An elderly voice called out. Adana quickened her pace, eyes fixed on the path leading to her grandmother's compound. A tall figure stepped into her path. Obinna Nwachukwu, now a man, where she had left a boy. He wore the red cap of an elder, despite being only 34 years old. His eyes still holding the same warmth she remembered. Adana, we have been waiting, he said while taking her suitcase. Her grandmother's compound seemed smaller than in her memories. Inside the main hut, elders had gathered, including Dibia Ezeji, the village spiritual guide, whom Adana remembered as ancient even in her childhood. Clouded with age, seemed to see through her. The daughter returns too late for the mother's blessing, he said, his voice strong despite his frail appearance, but perhaps not too late for Annie's. That night, as Adana tried to charge her phone, the electricity flickered and died. Small clay pots mysteriously tipped over. The house itself seemed to reject her modern intuitions. She woke up from nightmares of withered crops and dried streams to find Obinna at her door before dawn. I need to show you something, he said, his expression grave beneath the elder's cap. Walked in silence through the village. Adana noticed what she had missed the day before. Children with listless expressions, withered garden plots, a pervasive sense of anxiety. The land is dying. Since your grandmother fell ill 3 months ago, Obinna said, finally as they reached the edge of the forest. The sacred grove of Ani still stood massive, Iroko creating a cathedral of living wood. White clothes marked sacred trunks, but many had fallen. The stone altars were dusty with disuse, and beyond the grove's edge, Adana could see yellow construction equipment. What is this? She demanded. Progress, came a familiar voice. Nneka. emerged from the trees, resplendent in traditional finery that spoke of wealth, or it will be once we clear the unused land for the new developments. Unused? Obina's voice was sharp. This is an sacred grove. It is Okafor land, Nneka countered, and I have sold it to investors who will bring real prosperity, not superstition. That night, after a tense dinner with her sister, Dibia Ezeji came to Adana's door, carrying a wooden box carved with insibidi symbols. Your grandmother prepared this for you, he said, placing it in her hands. She knew you would return when Annie called. Inside the box lay items that stirred forgotten memories, a small carved wooden staff, anklets with tiny bells, white chalk, and a piece of paper with her grandmother's shaky handwriting. The succession was not complete. You must finish what I began, Ada. Over the next days, plants responded to Ada's touch. After the Beezeji's teaching, she found herself knowing which herb to pick without being told. Dreams of her grandmother grew more vivid, showing her forgotten rituals. You abandoned us, Nneka accused during one heated argument at the construction site. 15 years Ada, I stayed, I cared for her, while you played at being modern in Lagos. Now you return for a few days and think you can understand what this village needs? This isn't about what I want, Ada replied, noticing how the workers stared nervously at the sky, where the clouds gathered unnaturally just above the construction equipment. Can't you feel it? The land itself is rejecting this. Thunder crashed directly overhead, though no rain fell. One of the workers dropped his tools and backed away, making a sign against evil. Coincidence, Nneka snapped, but her voice wavered. Obinna found Adana at their childhood missing place, a fallen Iroko tree near the village stream. In the moonlight, he looked like the boy she had once loved. I waited for you, he said simply. For years, I thought you would return. I couldn't stay then, she replied. Everything here reminds me of what I lost when my parents died. And now? Now I don't know what I am, she admitted. In Lagos I knew. Here everything feels both foreign and familiar. Their conversation was interrupted by shouts from the village. They ran back to find people gathering around the sacred grove's edge, where all the construction equipment had been moved overnight into a perfect cycle with no signs of human interventions. That night, Adana's dream took her deeper into the spirit world than ever before. Her grandmother appeared not as an elderly woman she remembered, but as a vibrant priestess in her prime. The crossing between world things, Ada, her grandmother said. What was begun must be completed. Find your sister's truth. Heal what is broken between you, for Annie's power flows through your combined bloodline. With 3 days remaining before the New Year festival, Adana confronted Nneka in her grandmother's hut. But instead of accusations, she asked a simple question. Why did you really sell the land, Nneka? Her sister carefully instructed facade cracked. She chose you. Even after you left, it was always when Ada returns. I stayed. I learned everything she taught. I performed every ritual correctly, but the python never came to me. At least I will secure our family's future with wealth and influence. Understanding dawned. The succession ritual, Ada said slowly, is needed both of us, not just me. Together, the sisters searched through their grandmother's belongings and found her private diaries. The ritual required not one priestess but two, the voice of traditional and the voice of progress, working in harmony. Their grandmother had intended both daughters to share the responsibility, balancing the old ways with the new. As the New Yam festival approached, the village came alive with preparations, with the construction temporarily held by mysterious equipment failures. Adanna and Nneka worked with Dibia Ezeji to prepare for the succession ritual, each bringing their unique strengths. The day before the festival, Obinna took Adanna aside. If you complete this ritual, what then? Will you stay in Umudialah? The question hung between them, heavy with unspoken feelings. Before she could answer, a child ran up with urgent news. Construction workers had breached the sacred grove's boundary with heavy equipment. Workers fleeing as the earth itself seemed to rebel. Sinkholes appeared where none had been. The wind howled through the tree with unnatural force. At the center stood Nneka, facing a bulldozer driver who was refusing to move forward. The deal is off. I withdraw permission. This land is not to be touched. But the damage was already done. That night, the final preparations for the festival were made. Dibia Ezeji's face was grave. The veil between worlds has been torn. The ritual must be performed immediately. Before the festival, or Annie will withdraw completely from Umudiala. Under the full moon, Adanna and Nneka entered the sacred grove with their grandmother's ritual items shared between them. They followed Dibia Ezeji's instruction. As the village gathered at the grove's edge, the sisters fell into a deep trance. In the spirit realm, they followed a python guide through a forest more alive and aware of its physical counterpart. The tree had faces and the ground pulsed like a heartbeat. Before then, Annie herself, neither spirit nor human but something of both, rising from the earth with skin like fertile soil and eyes that held the wisdom of centuries. Why should I maintain covenant with those who forget? Her voice was like the rumble of distant thunder. Together, the sisters pleaded their case, Nneka offering understanding of necessary change, Adanna affirming commitment to eternal values. The complementary voices, once divided, now spoke in harmony. As the sisters completed the ritual, the villagers who had maintained vigilance all night watched in awe as new growth visibly spread through the damaged sections of the grove. Fresh green shoots pushing through sunflowers, opening life returning. As the New Year festival began, Adanna and Nneka together broke kola nuts at their grandmother's shrine, a symbolic act of unity and blessing. Nneka will continue her business ventures but with respect for traditional boundaries, while Adanna would split her time between Lagos and Umudiala, bringing architectural skills to develop the community. Obinna, watching the ceremony with approval, caught Adanna's eye across the celebration. Some relationships would need time to heal and grow. Some questions need answers, but the most important covenant between the people and their land, between past and future, has been renewed. In the heart of Igbo land, where ancient Iroko trees still whisper secrets of the past, the village of Umudiala flourishes under the renewed blessings of Annie. The Okafor sisters serves as her priestesses, one rooted in tradition, one embracing change. both essential. For the wisdom of our ancestors lives not in blind preservations, nor in careless abandonment, but in respectful evolution of what has always been